Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Unscaled Travel Show. I'm Jeremy Long here with my co-host and co-explorer, Amy.
Hello.
We are in beautiful Las Vegas, hot Las Vegas, in the Diamondback Land Surveying Studios. And we are so happy you are with us because we have a really fun, interesting show that dives into just kind of the examination of little or seemingly small things, small inventions that have really changed travel forever.
Yeah.
And, you know, when we kind of started putting this together, I think it just started with, I think above all things, like it started with neck pillows.
Yes.
When we started talking about this, because, you know me, for anyone who doesn't know me personally, sometimes I just ask random questions because I'm always thinking about, you know, I don't know, dumb things all the time. And I looked at you when we were sitting at the airport one day and I was like, who invented neck pillows? Where did these things even come from? And it got me thinking about everything in general. And just kind of when we started deep diving into, you know, the research for this episode.
Yeah.
It kind of became apparent, like there were seemingly a lot of little things that were invented that have completely transformed modern travel and how we, you know, circle the globe.
Yeah. I think it's most apparent to me when we're watching a movie from like the 80s or the early 90s and you see how people went to the airports before, you know, at that time, before a lot of these inventions, or, you know, they traveled from one country to another and you're like, was it really that easy or was it really that difficult? Yeah. Like, when did it change and what was the thing that changed it? And that's what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah. And I think that like the strangest thing, we were watching it like an episode of Friends or, you know, and they always had the episodes back in those classic comedies or dramas or anything like, I'm going to go run through the airport and catch my love
at the gate
as they're getting on the plane with no security stops and, you know,
right.
seemingly anything. And I know it's TV, but, you know, and I realize that the like TSA here in the United States, security is amped up because of what happened September 11th and all of that. But there was a time when you really could show up to an airport a short time before your flight, and most times it was going to work out.
Yeah. The first time I flew, I was a senior in high school, and we had a class that we had done fundraisers, and we were going to go to New York for spring break as a class.
But before you continue, was that when film was still black and white?
Oh, you're funny.
How long ago was that? Was that with
it
the light bulb?
It was the 90s. I will say that. It was the 90s.
That's how our kids talk to us. They're like, oh my God.
But I remember our parents drove us to the Houston International Airport and they walked with us to the gate and stood there until we got on the plane. Obviously, that can't happen now unless you have like a minor and you get permission to walk them to the gate. But just thinking about how much it's changed just in my basically adult life, because I was 18 at the time, you know, it's almost a completely different experience.
Yeah. The first one is probably one that impacts the most people around the world, and that's a passport.
Yeah.
And that's modern passports, right? So there was a time, believe it or not, where you could just like walk into another country and you didn't really have to stop through a whole lot of security. I mean, there might be people every once in a while, and you did have travel documents, you'll wear your papers and stuff like that. And that honestly goes back to there's evidence that suggests that there were documents that granted travel permissions as early as like 1500 BC.
Wow.
In Egypt. So it's not entirely foreign that you would need some kind of document to show people who you are
in another country
or whatever. But the modern passport, where did it come from? Why does it look the way it looks and things of that nature? Well, it all kind of started right after World War I. War changes a lot of things people, for countries and everything. Until the 1920s, most of the world did not require passports. You could travel from country to country with not very much identification on you. And just like, you know, people just accepted if you were Bill in this room, then you're Bill in the next room. Yeah. And that's how it kind of went. Well, wars were a lot of countries on Earth are involved and tensions are still high even after it ends, it changes things for people. And it started with the League of Nations, which was the precursor to what we call the United Nations now, right? The League of Nations was eventually just a terrible
You say
idea.
the League of Nations, and I picture a really terrible B-ranked movie with awful superhero.
That's the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
I know, but that's when you say the League of Nations, that's the first thing that pops in my head.
And that was Sir Sean Connery.
Yes.
And he will not be besmirched in these studios. Thank you.
Back to passports.
So the League of Nations gave us international kind of bureaucracy before it even accomplished anything about international peace. It was, when we look back on it now, it was more of an opportunity for the countries that were on the coming up of, like, you know, the United States and Britain and things like that, to basically enforce some new laws and set some rules. And, you know, even though the League of Nations didn't have the power to really enforce anything, it fell apart after a few years actually. But they were like, hey, maybe IDs for people that are traveling the world are good. And you know who should give you the right to travel? I mean, you know, that should be a governing body. And man, people in government and governments love to just
They like
be
to tax
governments.
people, right?
Yeah, and
It's
it
another
opened
way
up
for
new
them
taxes.
to make money.
Absolutely. You know,
So
it did.
I totally get passports, and being in the U.S., we need a passport to go to any other country. But when we were in Europe, it seems like you can move more freely around from country to country without needing a passport, depending on how you're traveling. So I still have a little confusion on who really is governing this, and when do you need to show your passport, when do you not? Because I mean, in Europe, you and I were riding trains all over the place, and sometimes they would ask to see a passport when you were on the train, sometimes not. So it can be a little confusing too, when exactly you have to present a passport.
And I think a lot of European countries, being in the EU, changed that, you know, a few decades ago, where you could freely move about from European Union nations to another without so much. Now, we did see on Swiss trains, they did do a lot of, every single time when they were looking for tickets, they asked for your passport and they wanted to see. And if you didn't have it, I imagine there was, you know, some kind of fine or stern warning or something.
Yeah, but then when we got off in France and we got off in Austria and even Liechtenstein, nobody was checking your passport in any of these places. In fact, even Liechtenstein had a novelty passport stamp that we could go pay to get, because they just don't do that anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I miss that. I know that's an offshoot, but I miss having the stamps, and not every country does it. And then there are certain countries, France,
Oh, yeah.
they stamp the hell out of your thing.
I think you get like 6.
They,
You go through multiple
like I put one on every page in my book. And I don't understand their weird rules like we have in the U.S. Like you have to have so many blank pages for stamps, and there's all kinds of bureaucracy involved.
Well, and even you're not supposed to travel within 6 months of your passport expiring, but like it's still good until the expiration date. So why not?
I don't know. I think more than anything, and I think passports are kind of gatekeeping agents. And more than that, they normalize the idea that travel is a privilege and not a right. Like you can have your passport taken away or, you know, forcibly seized so you can't leave a country, which is, for better or worse, that's how it operates now.
It's a little scary, we'll say.
It is, you know, but some of the first passports after the League of Nations floated this idea were 32 pages long.
Wow.
Multilingual, lots of stamp room. So next time you're sweating in a TSA line, just remember there was a time when it was actually easy. Keep it right here. It's the Unscaled Travel Show. We'll be right back.
Unscaled Travel Show is brought to you by Diamondback Land Surveying. For all your land surveying needs, contact Diamondback Land Surveying at 702-823-DBLS.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Unscaled Travel Show. Jeremy along here with my co-host and co-explorer, Amy.
Hello.
For all of our past episodes and interviews, different things, pictures, I don't know. Go to unscaledtravelshow.com. Check us out. Check out our YouTube channel. We have a bunch of new subscribers. Mm-hmm. A few.
A bunch. We're so popular.
Oh, I know. I'm so popular. I have like 100 subscribers. So I'm on my way, folks. Pretty soon you won't be able to talk to me without going through my executive assistant because that's how popular I am. But yeah, you can find us on YouTube telling different travel stories. It's Unscaled Travel Show as well. We're talking about these seemingly small inventions and things that have come along that have changed travel that now are just commonplace. And you don't really think about them that often, except me. I do. Because when we go to airports, you are usually like reading a book or doing something constructive. I'm staring at people like there's something wrong with me. Like I'm trying to figure out where they're going in the afterlife. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what math problem I think I'm doing in my head, but I just stare at people until they think there's something.
But airports are a great place to people watch. Great place.
Yeah, unless you're like me and you're just like, ugh. You just had security call on me.
Anyway,
There's a guy just staring into the Auntie Anne's pretzel place, just like a lunatic. Anyway, so we were just talking about passports, but another one is rolling luggage.
this is one of those things that I didn't even think about it until you mentioned this, because like all luggage has wheels now, right?
Now it's commonplace.
But we were watching at Christmas every single year. We watch Home Alone, right? And there's the scene where they're running through the airport. And I remember when we watched it at Christmas, seeing a guy like carrying those old suitcases, the ones that look like big briefcases, you know what I'm talking about? Like they're hard and they kind of look like a clamshell. And he was carrying like a bunch of them. And I remember thinking, that looks awkward. Like, who carried their luggage? But I didn't realize luggage didn't have wheels back then.
Yeah, I mean, and it did. It just wasn't popular. So, like, airports, of course, are massive. Have you ever been to that horrible one in Phoenix? That horrible airport that they had there?
Yes, I have.
It's massive. It stretches about 18 miles long. I don't know. It feels like it. And there's no rolling, like, people movers.
Yeah.
Any of those things. Suitcases now, people are trying to avoid those fees. Nobody wants to check their bag anymore because a checked bag is the cost of a ticket. So everyone's trying to cram 8 days worth of socks and underwear into their weekend bag. And like, you know, the wheel was invented in 3500 BC. We didn't put wheels on suitcases until like 1970. So I don't know where we were at in our minds, right? But who do we have to think for these things, right? The precursor goes to a man named Bernard Sadow. Bernard Sadow was a luggage company executive, and he was returning, the alleged incident was he was returning from a family vacation in Aruba and had to drag his heavy luggage through the customs line. He saw an airport worker moving heavy machinery on wheeled platforms and had an epiphany. Humans deserve to have wheels on their luggage. Why did it take this moment of all the things looking around and finally someone went, oh, we should put wheels on these?
Yeah, no, I don't know. I mean, the giant suitcases that we travel with when we do check luggage, they're huge. And what were we doing before they rolled? Were we actually carrying them? I guess so.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or dragging them.
Have you seen those people that travel and they got huge backpacks on their back and on the front?
Yeah.
And they're also carrying something else to kind of skirt those lines.
Yeah.
Those people, like, I don't understand. I don't know. That has nothing to do with anything. I was just about to gripe about that. Anyway, he filed a patent in 1970. He got the patent in 1972. And rolling luggage was kind of invented. It had 4 wheels and a strap. But it didn't look like what we see now, like the telescoping handle and the tilt and all of that, until years later. And believe it or not, when it first came out, it wasn't popular.
I remember these, though, because it was the same kind of luggage that I'm thinking of, where it was like long and skinny, and you pulled it, but it was like, it wasn't stable. So it'd fall over and you'd have to pick it back up. And you had to pull it very gingerly so that
No.
it actually rolled, right?
You had to drag it through the airport like it was a child throwing a tantrum. That's what this was, right? So again, invented in 1972, patented in 1972. I mean, the idea caught on slowly until this other guy who was a Northwestern Airlines pilot. Remember Northwest Airlines? Robert Plath. He invented the upright two-wheel suitcase with a telescoping handle in 1987. And that one was the instant hit that people started buying and going, why have I been carrying the stuff through the airports for all of these years?
Right. I mean, that's what, when you buy luggage, these are the options.
Yeah.
They don't even really have options without wheels anymore, unless it is like a small overnight bag, something like that.
And even then, believe it or not, like men were the last ones to kind of adopt this because they felt it was feminine.
It was unmanly.
Yeah, it was unmanly to like put it on wheels because they were like, I'm a man and I'm going to pick all 24 pounds of socks that I have jammed in here and I'm going to carry it like real men do.
Because men don't work smarter. They work harder.
Yeah, that's why dads were always so miserable on every trip. I'm just muscling through this so I could be a man. Wheeled luggage reshaped airport designs. It made travel more accessible for older people who didn't have to carry this, bad backs and all. And it really did spawn $1 billion accessory industry.
Yeah. I mean, I have some smaller kind of carry-on size bags that don't have wheels. They're more the type that you put on a shoulder. But I generally don't use those by themselves because I still have to carry it. And like you said, some of these airports are huge. I made the mistake. I was going from Las Vegas to Atlanta for a 2-day work event. And I thought, I'm just going to carry my small carry-on bag. Doesn't have wheels. I can carry it. The Atlanta airport, if you've never been, it's the busiest airport in the world. I just saw that yesterday. But it is huge. And it's so huge that they have a train. And if you miss the train, you can't actually walk. Don't do it. I did it. I walked from one terminal to another. It was seriously a 20-minute walk from one terminal to the next. Carrying a bag that wasn't that heavy, but after 20 minutes and dodging thousands of people, I was ready to just leave my luggage and buy new stuff when I got to my hotel. I'm just leaving it. I don't even care. Don't even care.
I don't even need it.
I don't even need a toothbrush right now. The hotel will give me one.
You know what? I'll just turn my underwear inside out, get a couple of days out of it, and everything should be fine. So Robert Plath's design, the pilot, right? Initially, before it was mass consumed, they only sold it to pilots and crew members. It was a way to kind of help them because they're always flying around. They're always going from city to city or doing whatever they do. I don't know. And then passengers would see them and think, wow, that's the height of luxury.
Right.
I want one of those. And they started demanding it. At first, luggage companies were like, no, this is for pilots only. Those pilots are always so greedy. Anyway, Unscaled Travel Show. Keep it right here.
Unscaled Travel Show is brought to you by Diamondback Land Surveying. For all your land surveying needs, contact Diamondback Land Surveying at 702-823-DBLS.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Unscaled Travel Show. Jeremy Long here with my co-host, co-explorer Amy.
Hello.
We're in beautiful Sin City in the Diamondback Land Surveying Studios. And check us out, unscaledtravelshow.com. We're talking about seemingly small inventions that really kind of transformed and shaped our modern travel experience. And I'll tell you this. Number one, I don't think... Well, as a kid, there was no better feeling in the world than stealing hotel shampoos.
Is this something you did frequently?
We were poor. We didn't travel that much. So anytime we went to a Motel 6 or something, I stole everything.
We were poor too, and we didn't travel anywhere that had stealable stuff. If I remember correctly, the only thing they would have would be the little bar of hand soap at the sink, but they didn't have shampoos and stuff. That was way too fancy for what we could afford.
You guys went to the motels where the TV was bolted down to the.
Yeah, I'm not even joking.
I love it.
Absolutely.
Loaded up in the sedan, loaded up in the station wagon, and let's go. No, so the tiny toiletries, right? Remember Fight Club, single serving friends,
yes,
single serving everythings.
Yes,
it was the thing, and even these now are kind of on the way out.
Yes, they are. They are.
A lot of places with tiny single use plastics are a hot button issue with a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, for the waste of the packaging and recycling,
absolutely.
Things like that, it is kind of going out of trend, but it's been a big thing. I mean, there are entire hotel chains that I won't say they're built or people go there for their toiletry brands, but they have dedicated toiletry brands, and you can't get that stuff anywhere else. And I can think of one, they don't use this particular brand anymore, but you and I traveled somewhere maybe 15 years ago, and it wasn't even a hotel I thought really anything of, but the brand of hand soaps that they had there and the lotion I had never used before. And then I found that you couldn't buy it anywhere else. So then I wanted to keep going to that chain so I could get those lotions.
And what would you do? You would take them.
Well, isn't that what they're for?
Are they? I don't know.
I'm not stealing them off the cleaning lady's cart. I'm just like...
Hey, look, I only did that every single time we go to a place. Like even Pebble Beach. I mean, they have a signature brand of lotions and different things like this. That's kind of where the whole idea came from. In the 50s and 60s, American hotel chains started offering tiny bottles of shampoo, little bars of soap to lure in more business travelers because it made it look luxurious. It was free stuff. And oftentimes it was paired with a more popular brand or something like that to give the perception of like, hey, look at this. Normally you wouldn't buy this, but here we give it to you free to kind of try. Look how luxurious it is. Look how much better your stay is going to be.
So added value.
It was perceived luxury.
Well, here's a question. And this goes back to what we were just talking about. This was before there were wheels on luggage. Were people carrying full-size bottles of shampoo with them as they traveled?
Yeah.
In these suitcases that they had to carry? Is that why we needed wheels on suitcases to begin with?
It's all hand in hand. And so now you
It was hand in hand because there were no wheels.
Like that. But now you understand why Big Travel runs... Big Travel is a conspiracy thing. They're probably going to censor this episode. I'm telling you, if I go missing, it's because of Big Travel. So you might be wondering who really pioneered it. A lot of independent chains started in on this trend, right? But it was Kemmons Wilson, who was the founder of Holiday Inn, who helped normalize amenities as marketing. They used to put it in their marketing. Come here and you're going to leave all your other stuff behind because we're going to have everything you need right here because it's a luxurious thing for your business and everything, right? He believed that standardization would beat out luxury. Little soap bars, little free things of shampoo and lotions were the free Wi-Fi of their time. Remember when Wi-Fi was a big deal?
It still is. Some places it's not free.
Come here. You get free Wi-Fi, That was their option back then. That was their marketing pool. So by the 1970s, mini toiletries were kind of everywhere. It went over from airlines to cruise ships to trains. And then Japan, because Lord save the Japanese, right? Not to be outdone. They launched ultra mini kits that made our offerings here in the U.S. look like Costco bulk buys.
How tiny were these, though? I don't understand because I can't picture in my head how small a mini toiletry would be that it's still useful.
I don't know. Like if you get a thing of toothpaste and it only covers half the toothbrush.
It's like one of those little wisp
I don't
things you
know
can
if-
get at the store.
Yeah, I don't know if it's actual smaller servings or just like less things. Like instead of having, they used to have like shampoo and conditioner and you get a thing for your hair, a hairnet and, you know, even a toothbrush and all those things. And then I think they would just pare it down to the basics. Like here's some basic things.
But it said it made it look like Costco bulk buys. So in my head, I'm picturing a bar of soap that's like somebody with a knife just cut off a little corner of
It's the essence
Iris
of soap.
Spring.
Yes.
And wrapped it up. Here's your soaps.
Yeah.
Here's your soap sliver.
It's a wisp. It's a wisp of clean. That's all you need. These little soaps created expectations. Travelers began judging entire hotel chains by their toiletry game. And you can't tell me that's a lie because you've done that. You do that to this day.
I do.
Absolutely. And it launched a whole industry. Again, billion-dollar industries. Aesop, I remember all those big brands, Aesop and L'Occitane and these kind of brands. I mean, just huge money when it comes to. That's why I'm saying big travel.
Big travel.
Big travel's in on it, man.
Sure.
So tiny, disposable, often smell vaguely like cucumber melon.
I like cucumber melon.
That's how people describe me.
Cucumber melon.
Tiny, disposable. Well, no one said tiny. Unscaled Travel Show. Be right back.
Unscaled Travel Show is brought to you by Diamondback Land Surveying. For all your land surveying needs, contact Diamondback Land Surveying at 702-823-DBLS.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Unscaled Travel Show. Jeremy here with my co-explorer, Amy.
Hi.
We're in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada, in the Diamondback Land Surveying Studios. We're talking about inventions in travel that really shaped how we see and view the world and experience things, really. And they are pretty normalized now, but at times, different times in the last, I don't know, few decades and even last couple hundred years, it's really, I mean, sometimes they were mind-blowing. You know, they didn't have a whole lot of things going on in the 1800s, for instance, right? So this next thing is postcards. Postcards, these days they're on the little rack in every gas station and convenience store and souvenir shop around the world, hotel lobbies, all kinds of places where you'll find just a rack of postcards.
Yeah, and I feel like they've kind of gone out of style.
Yeah, they
with
have.
everybody living their lives online, you don't really need to send the postcard anymore. Now it seems more like a novelty. And I feel like certain places are trying to bring it back. Like, you know, when we were in Japan, there was the cute little mailbox at the zoo that would look like a panda, and you could get a stamp right there. And, you know, we saw one, I think, when we were in Switzerland too. Like, they were selling postcards and they had a mailbox right there. Like, they're trying to encourage people to do it again. But now it's more just like, and we do it. We'll pick one up like, oh, this is nice. And we put it in our memory box. We're not actually mailing anyone a postcard, though.
Well, see, but we did in Liechtenstein. I don't know if you remember that. When we were in there getting the stamp, they had a postcard area. And I sent a postcard to us. And like, I don't know, a year later, we got a postcard.
Did we ever get it?
Yeah.
I didn't realize we actually got it.
Yeah, it was like, it took like 6 weeks
Okay.
or something. But the postcard came in and it was me going, hi, me. Like you wrote little messages. Hi, future me. Here's what's happening.
Wish you were here.
I know, like things like that, right? So it was like Instagram before Instagram. Postcards weren't invented by any one person. They just kind of evolved over time as marketing really kind of picked up in the early 19th century, the early 1800s or so, right? But the turning point came in the late 1800s when countries from around the world agreed to create a universal postcard rate. So it was cheaper than sending letters and not confined by national borders. They were like, hey, this these little squares, letting people know where you are and where you have been or whatever. They're going to be a flat fee in every country. And you know what? We're just going to mail them. There's not going to be any like customs or anything involved. And so people were like, wow, okay, I could take this colorized picture of the Eiffel Tower or Niagara Falls and send it to my grandmama in Ohio and say, hey, we're not going to invite you on this trip, but here's a postcard. You can see how much fun we're having.
Glad you're not here.
Oh, so the universal, especially our grandparents, the Universal Postal Union was founded in 1874, and its main purpose was starting to set international standards for postage, including postcards. It created a fixed cost to send a card almost anywhere around the world. In fact, we went to the Vatican in Rome, and they had a whole area. Remember that? The shop, and it had a whole postcard area. And I didn't even know this until after we got back from there, that I didn't want to stand in line because I'm like, I don't know how much it is to mail a postcard anymore.
Yeah,
I don't mail things like that anymore. I don't use the United States Postal Service. I don't use it. In fact, I'm furious. I went and checked the mail today at my home, and I was like, why am I getting mail? I don't understand this. But it is kind of fun. It is kind of retro now. Like, you send postcards to people, and people seem genuinely excited because, mail that you can actually look at.
Well,
and
you have a friend that you occasionally exchange postcards when you travel.
Absolutely. And it's fun because, like, it doesn't really happen that often anymore. So it is something like a simpler time. And it is, I guess, nice if you want to look at it that way of like, hey, I was traveling and I just thought of you and here's a postcard. And like,
here's a picture of something you're probably never going to see.
I'm sorry, you're so poor. You can't come on this trip. And we're not friends like that. That's why you weren't invited. So, but it was invented in the 1800s. Wow. But the golden age of the postcard was really between 1900 and 1920. In 1906 alone, the United Kingdom sent nearly 900 million postcards.
Wow.
That's
in
about
1 year.
Yeah, that's about 16 per person in that country.
Where were all these people going?
Well, you visit there and then you send them out, or people go from one place to another. And that was just how you corresponded with people, because you got a little space. You could write a little thing. Hey, Mom and I decided to go on this trip, and we know you're at home, son, but you couldn't come with us.
You're watching the dog.
Yeah, thanks for watching the dog. The U.S. wasn't very far behind. Cities competed to make the most outrageous landmarks just for the bragging rights, and that's where things started coming from, hi from the Grand Canyon, hi from, hello from Las Vegas or whatever.
That makes sense.
It trained travelers to really start seeing the world differently. Suddenly, every train station, every little roadside dinosaur, every little biggest ball of yarn became something that, you needed to send a postcard from. And I knew, I think my mom, someone like that, would send postcards to people, I guess her sister, like multiple times on every trip that we took.
Really?
We didn't take that many, but
really,
like, okay, we're in Houston. Okay, now we're in San Antonio. Okay, now we're, and you kind of, you tracked people that way. Like, here we're, take a look at our adventure.
I know it was a big thing a couple of years ago that travel influencers were saying to mail yourself a postcard from every place you go. So when you get home, you kind of have this little memory book preset and you just kind of bind it. But you can just put a little note on there, I was here at this time or whatever. And then it's kind of a ready-made souvenir book of each trip. That seems really nice. It seems like work I'm not going to do, but I think that might have been, this was a couple of years ago, that might have been what sort of has put postcards back on the map, to use a travel phrase. But
back on the map.
People started using postcards again.
Absolutely. And vintage postcard collectors are still out there. They're finding all of these old notes that say, we walked by this fountain. It smelled awful. We thought of you. It's Unscaled Travel Show. Be right back.
Unscaled Travel Show is brought to you by Diamondback Land Surveying. For all your land surveying needs, contact Diamondback Land Surveying at 702-823-DBLS.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Unscaled Travel Show. Jeremy here with my co-host, Amy.
Hello.
Check us out on unscaledtravelshow.com. We're talking about seemingly trivial things at the time that were invented that have completely reshaped how we travel the world, how we view it, how we even get around. Yeah, we've had some fun ones, right? Small, tiny toiletries, passports, all kinds of good stuff right there. One that completely changed life for me was the invention of GPS.
Right.
Google Maps even.
But if you go to predate that, what was the website where you would put in your location, it would give you turn-by-turn directions, and you would print it, and then you would take that in the car with you?
MapQuest.
MapQuest, yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I would print so many things off of MapQuest that my mother started charging me per page like she was the post office.
I remember the first time I drove to Houston from where we lived in Texas, and you printed off map by myself. I had never driven there by myself before, and I was going to downtown Houston, and you printed off the MapQuest directions for me because I knew how to get to Houston. I just didn't know where I was going once I got there.
Absolutely. So like you put in perspective for younger kids, imagine flying down the highway at 75 miles an hour and then trying to read a book.
That's pretty accurate.
That's what MapQuest was.
Well, before that,
it was so dangerous.
Before that, though, it was just paper maps. My
Absolutely.
grandparents traveled every year. They would go on a 6-week trip every year where they would get their RV and they would travel around the country, always picking different states to go to. And I remember very clearly they had a map book, and it was one of those big books that looked like a newspaper, but it had maps of every single state in there, and then it had big like nationwide maps for like so you could see what the big highways were going across the country. And they would get every year, set it on their dining room table, and take a highlighter and map out what trip they were going on.
Oh, that's fun.
And my grandma was the navigator, so once they drew it out, she would tell my grandpa that was her job while they traveled, tell him what turns to take.
It gave people a good sense of direction. You could be like, oh, you're going to go west on 290. You're going to travel that for about 15 miles until whatever. I mean, even people, I guess, our age and older, Rand McNally. Yeah. Everybody knows Rand McNally. You started with a single tiny little map, and then once you unfolded it, it never went back.
Right.
You can never get it.
You're like, how come the front is in the middle? I don't understand. The front cover is now in the middle of this thing. It doesn't make sense.
Why am I looking at Ohio? We're in Texas. I don't understand why this is going on. But, GPS, and more specifically Google Maps, believe it or not, launched in 2005. And by 2008, that mobile app had changed everything. All of a sudden, you didn't need a plan anymore. You just needed some battery life and a signal, right? That's how you got around. I am so bad with using Google Maps that we have lived in Las Vegas for over 12 years now, and I still Google Map things.
You do, absolutely.
Places that I should know. I should know how to get to these places. I go to there all the time, and I'm still like, what direction do I need?
You do. I will attest to this. Part of it, I think, is because you want to see what the traffic looks like.
Oh, I love the little traffic update thing.
It'll tell you like, oh, it's red in this direction. Go this way.
Ooh, yeah,
but
not gonna do that.
I mean, right now, if I asked you how to get down to the Venetian, do you know what exit you need to take? Probably not.
Don't call me out like that. Come on. I feel personally
it's
attacked.
Spring Mountain, but yeah.
So I mean, you have a pretty good, even though you don't know your left from your right, you have a pretty good sense of direction, especially, I mean, I
know what direction I need to go in. I just say the wrong one.
I have become so dependent, though, on Google Maps and Apple Maps and, you know, these digital things.
Which I'm an Apple Map user.
Yeah.
You are a Google Map user.
Oh, and I need some fierce loyalty from my Google Mappers out there.
Nope.
To combat this.
Nope. It's Apple.
Well,
they're better.
Maybe sometimes. I don't know, but they're worse. The original team was Where To Technologies in Sydney, Australia. And so, yeah, I mean, believe it or not, we learned to depend on GPS thanks to our brothers and sisters in Australia. Google bought the company in 2004 and eventually just turned it into Google Maps, started embedding it. It was a launch with a new phone. You had Google Maps already installed and everything, and it became just kind of implanted in how we travel.
Yeah, I do think that we are, and not we, just me and you, but in general, people are very dependent on it, especially when you travel somewhere you've never been before, but somewhere you've never been before that speaks a different language, because you can't just easily ask for directions.
And really, that's how it's, I mean, I see these maps applications as just how they've evolved now. They give you, now it's like 3D renderings of cities and streets. So it's not just driving down the highway. It's, well, I mean, we used it every single day, all day long when we were in Tokyo.
Yeah.
And it's so accurate now.
We just used it in California when we went to driving through Santa Cruz, and it said, turn left at the Taco Bell. You're like, wow, okay.
What Taco?
So now I'm looking for Taco Bell.
And that's like a Apple Maps thing, because there's one section of Las Vegas, and every time I go to this center part of town on this one street, it says it every single time. It's like past the Whataburger or whatever on the right. Whataburger's not out here. Past the McDonald's on the right, and then the other street will be there. I'm like, why does it say that every single time? And why is this McDonald's a landmark?
Because everybody sees the golden arches.
I don't understand, because like it used to be, you would give someone directions? Remember those days?
Oh, yeah.
Now I'm just like, why are you asking me? You have a phone. Don't ask me for directions. I don't know either. But you used to tell them, you used to point out things. You'd be like, if you hit the big tree, you've gone too far. You need to circle back and come to, there's the little oil spot on the road. That's where you need to turn.
You're so country. Turn at the oil
It's
spot
up there
on the
yonder
road.
a little bit. And if you've gone too far, just holler, or you come back here. We'll get you where you need to go.
Well, I mean, at some places you go, the cities are laid out. New York, it's a grid.
Right.
So people can tell you, it's up 4 over 4 kind of thing. Like but then other places, when we moved to Las Vegas, this city is not a grid at all. These streets are not straight.
The city
there
doesn't
are
make any
streets
sense.
that don't. I'm thinking of Durango specifically. South Durango and North Durango don't actually meet. There's a different, they don't touch each other. So you can't get on South Durango and end up on North Durango. It's very confusing. So I did use my Google and Apple Maps a lot when we moved here, because I didn't know how to get places.
Yeah. And I look at it as both a good and a bad thing. It has made it easier to kind of access stuff. I love the traffic overlay, because it gives you real-time traffic and weather conditions and all kinds of stuff in there. But it also, I think, on some level, replaced human instinct. It also kind of replaced these wonderful, like those guidebooks. And the guidebooks weren't, like, that's how the Michelin thing started, right? They were guidebooks, and then they recommended restaurants that you should go visit, and
didn't know that.
landmarks and different things. Yeah, that's where the Michelin stars and all of that stuff, because they were recommended places that you should go.
Michelin, who makes tires,
Yes.
is making it all makes sense now.
Now it makes sense.
I've for so long wondered how they got from tires to restaurants, and it all just clicked.
They're tires. They want you on the road.
Oh my gosh!
Get out and go travel. Look at you learning things.
I just learned.
I
was
I tell people
today years old.
all the time that you can learn so much from our show. Just a full education from our show.
I feel so much smarter right now.
Get out of here. And you look better. Your skin is cleared up wonderfully. Everyone's happy when they listen to Unscaled Travel Show. You just put that together?
I really did, yes.
Keep it right here. Who knows what you'll learn in the next segment.
Unscaled Travel Show is brought to you by Diamondback Land Surveying. For all your land surveying needs, contact Diamondback Land Surveying at 702-823-DBLS.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Unscaled Travel Show. Jeremy Long here with my co-explorer, Amy.
Hello.
We're in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada, in the Diamondback Land Surveying Studios, and we're having fun. We hope you're having fun, too. Learning all kinds of stuff today.
Sometimes I feel really dumb doing this
No, it's not dumb. A lot of people honestly don't know. I mean, we say it in everyday kind of vernacular in travel, like, you know, it's a Michelin star restaurant,
Yeah.
a Michelin, you know, all these kind of things. But where did it actually come from? Yeah.
I
Michelin
have
guidebooks.
asked the question before out loud, maybe not to anyone in particular, but why Michelin star? Like, how did they go from tires to? And nobody's ever answered this. So, thank you. Thank you
so
for
welcome.
educating me on that.
I remember
today.
you one time in the airport, you screamed it at that child. They didn't know either. They just
Well, if he would have stopped dragging his luggage in front of me,
need some wheels on it. So, like, going back to GPS and Google Maps, all the positives, and we did mention a couple like negatives or whatever, especially on the human instinct part, because people have been known to blindly follow those things.
right.
Blindly follow these things. To people have driven off cliffs. People have driven multiple times into lakes, hiking trails,
What?
all kinds of. Just recently, not too long ago, here in the United States, in Chicago, a DoorDash driver somehow got onto the tarmac of the, I think, O'Hare Airport to deliver a food order and was driving around where the planes
How
are.
does that happen?
Number one, where's the security?
Right. How does this happen?
Someone got fired over that. You know that. But the guy was just like, the Google map thing led me here. So
Right.
He was trying to deliver it to someone on a plane.
Well, I mean, when we were in Italy and I was trying to find you another way to Tivoli, it said it was a road. You called it an alley. I don't know. There were houses on it, so I think it was a road, just a very small dirt road.
It was Giuseppe's Road.
But you were very irritated that I took you down a not real road. But I'm like, this is the way the map is saying to go.
The map says it exists. There's a section of the city pretty close to us where it's being built. I mean, the road doesn't exist, but in the Google Maps, it says it
shows
exists.
it. Yeah, it shows
And it
the
tries
map.
to give you directions through it. I'm like, that's
not
a dirt
road.
field.
There's a barricade right there. Fun fact about Google Maps, digital maps in general, is that my very first job when I was 15, this is the mid-90s, my very first job was working for a digital graphic company, and we took paper maps and recreated them in a computer program.
Oh.
So they would give you a map every day, and you would go square by square, and you would place, the fat line for the highway or the skinny line for the road or the squiggly blue line for a river. And we just recreated maps all day, every day.
Yeah. Around that same time, I worked at the appraisal district where they did appraising for the county and things of that nature. And I never had to do it, but they were in the process of digitizing all of their appraisals, like of neighborhoods and everything around there. So like the appraisers, when they weren't out like in the field, they had to be at their desk, like not hand drawing, but like digitally drawing these maps in these different programs to get it all to a digital age.
Somebody actually had to do that. Now you see the Google Map car out with the little camera on the top. But before that, we just had a piece of paper and we were rebuilding it in a system somewhere. So you're all welcome, younger generation. We did the hard work for you.
There was an instance in 2019 where Google Maps led dozens of Colorado drivers, independent drivers, and I think I read somewhere there was about 9 different drivers who didn't know each other, into a muddy field while rerouting through traffic, and they all got stuck, and they all just blindly followed into this muddy field, and they all showed up at the same time. They're like, how did you get here? Well, Google Maps told me to come through
But
here.
at no point did somebody think like, this isn't
No
a road.
one just looked forward. And
No one said, this is Giuseppe's road. We shouldn't be on this road.
This is a tarmac. Where are all these airplanes doing here? There are some honorable mentions. Things like, I don't want to say this one just because I don't like the word. I'll let you say it. You know what? I'll let you read this.
The moist towelettes. The wet wipe.
Yes, basically the wet wipe. Originally invented by Arthur Julius in 1957. He actually, this is not a parody, he pitched it to the Colonel Sanders of KFC fame in 1960, who said, absolutely, this is going to revolutionize the eating greasy chicken.
Finger licking good.
You don't lick them anymore. You clean them. You're not an animal. But it spread. It spread from there. Stop licking your fingers. It spread from there and became a staple. Even now today on airplanes, when you're getting on the plane, especially after this last whole thing with COVID.
Yeah.
Which is the same generation that was licking their fingers is worried about COVID. But you get on an airplane, they hand you a moist towelette. A wet wipe, basically, to sanitize the seat around you and all the good things. And that's where it kind of came from.
Well, speaking of travel toiletries earlier, I do usually carry a small pack of wet wipes or baby wipes or something in my travel bag because you just never know where you're going to be and if you're eating as you're going, and hands get dirty touching things. So I do carry them with me, but I always appreciate getting on a plane and they hand me one. Like, I may not necessarily use it. I'm not one of those people that wipes down everything on the seat in front of me, but I do carry them and I use them. And I'm thankful because there's been plenty of times we've been traveling and it's like, oh, I need a napkin. Here's a wet wipe.
Yeah. And there have been some seats on some of these garbage airlines who apparently don't clean.
They don't clean anymore.
Anything.
I just flew last week, and when we were coming into land, they made an announcement to have, when you got out of your seat, to please recross your seatbelt buckles.
Now they're starting
so
to tell
that they're
you,
ready for the next people to get on.
You clean it.
Yeah.
That's basically what they're saying.
I was like, oh, so you're just admitting you don't clean at all now. Okay, good to know.
Another thing, and this is good and bad, I guess, it just kind of changed travel foods and how we, I guess, kind of revolutionized that whole side of it. But canned meat or just canning in general. So, no freeze-dried astronaut packs here for your plain foods and things like that. But just like preserving and changing how we just move food around in large groups. Basically, and this one kind of goes to Napoleon.
Wow.
1795. He offered a reward to anyone who could invent a method of food preservation for his troops when he was doing his whole Napoleon thing, right? And this Frenchman, Nicolas Appert, came up with sealing food in glass bottles using heat. But a few years later, the British in 1810 said, hey, let's put it in some metal tin cans. And it made it, for armies, they could bring food with them without it spoiling as fast as just having it out.
Right.
But for travel, you think of all the travel, like food kits and things like that. Now you could pre-buy a meal for a plane. And when you get on there, it's all kind of revolutionized and modernized since then, obviously. But getting food and now the meal you ordered just looks awful. Like, why would you eat this? Especially if you're 8 hours into a 16-hour flight and you're looking at this food going, I know I shouldn't eat this because this is a long time to be uncomfortable with stomach pains.
Well, I'm thinking even just the little snacks that you get on the plane. It used to be they gave out little packs of peanuts, right? Like that was the thing. They didn't do anything else. But now most airlines, they have a few different things to choose from.
Yeah.
And even if you purchase your own food, like in the airport, or if you bring things with you, I don't recall being younger and seeing a whole lot of individually packaged foods. But now, like, there's entire aisles that you can go buy boxes of individually packaged snacks and carry them with you when you travel or you go hiking or whatever. I think in general, how would you call it? Single serving friends.
Yeah.
Single serving foods and snacks has totally changed over the last couple of decades.
And then finally, speaking of snackable, flip-flops.
Snackable.
Snackable. You ever looked at some people's feet? Also snackable.
That's why I thought you said snaggable.
The modern rubber flip-flop that exploded in popularity after World War II. American soldiers, at least here in the U.S., brought those Zori sandals from Japan, those little small sandals that they use. Back over here, they were cheap to make, and then now all of a sudden they became like a symbol of post-war consumerism here. And by the 1950s, flip-flops were beach essentials, and my life has never been the same because I got to stare at people's feet all the time. They wear them everywhere. It's Unscaled Travel Show. I hope you guys had fun. We'll see you next time.